Hi, and welcome back to Bounce Forward with me, Tiff. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this podcast, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to elders, past and present. Ellie wrote into me, Tiff, please help. I've heard a lot of conflicting views with BMI and BMR. And honestly, when I look at my BMI scores, I feel really downhearted. What are they and how do you calculate them? Is BMI a load of fooey because muscle weighs more than fat and the fittest, strongest people can have a BMI saying they are overweight? Oh, this is such a juicy question, Ellie. And in my opinion, I think the body mass index, the BMI, is kind of really archaic and outdated now. But the BMI, body mass index, and the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, are two very different metrics, and they serve distinct purposes in health and fitness assessments. But I just don't like the BMI because when I was at my fittest, strongest, leanest, biggest, and in a strength way, I went and had my BMI done. I had all this fitness testing done when I was becoming a gladiator, and medical tests and things, and they did my BMI and my BMI was bad. And I couldn't believe it because I was super lean and super fit and had a lot of muscle on me, but I was 164 centimeters. And BMI is a simple calculation used to assess whether a person has appropriate body weight for their height. So if you're short and you've got a lot of muscle mass, then it sometimes comes out as a poor rating. So it is a ratio of weight to height. It's calculated by dividing a person's weight in kilograms by the square of their height in meters. And look, it's a quick and easy way to screen for weight categories that may lead to health problems, but it does not directly measure body fat or overall health. And BMI doesn't differentiate between muscle and fat mass. And so it might inaccurately categorize athletes, like it did when I was a gladiator, with a dense muscle mass as overweight or obese. And similarly, it may not accurately reflect the health status of someone who is older, like elderly people, and those with low muscle mass, which is also a little bit dangerous. The BMR, the basal metabolic rate, is something completely different. The BMR is the number of calories required to keep your body functioning at rest, okay? So it is the amount of energy your body needs to perform basic life-sustaining functions like breathing, digestion, processing nutrients, circulation, cell production, all the basic things that we don't even think about. BMR can be estimated through various equations, with the Harris-Benedict equation being one of the most commonly used. The equation takes into account your age, your sex, your weight, and height to estimate your caloric needs at rest. So understanding your BMR can help really understand how many calories you should consume in a day to lose weight and be in a calorie deficit, or maintain weight or gain weight, depending on overall activity levels and your goals, right? So BMI estimates can vary depending on the formula used and individual differences in metabolism, which can be influenced also by genetic factors, muscle mass, even hormonal variations. So the key differences are what they measure. BMI measures a relationship between weight and height to categorize overall body weight status. BMR measures the energy expenditure at rest to understand your caloric needs. They're both used in health assessments. BMI is commonly used for general health screenings to quickly identify potential weight-related health risks. And BMR is used specifically to guide dietary and fitness programs by estimating daily caloric needs based on a person's metabolism at rest, right? There's also the impact of muscle mass. So BMR is affected by muscle mass. The more muscle mass, lean muscle mass that a person has, the more calories you will burn at rest, whereas BMI does not differentiate the type of mass. So fat versus muscle, no idea. So in summary, I think BMI is a straightforward measure that helps with weight relative to height and can show up some potential risks, say if you're obese, but BMR gives more of a nuanced understanding of a person's metabolism, which is really important, and can guide those decisions about diet and exercise and tailor that to your personal energy needs. They're completely different markers. I would always use BMR when I'm advising on a calorie deficit or maintenance for someone who comes to me. I would never use the BMI. I do think it's really archaic and I would just steer clear of it. And if a doctor does your BMI, I would just take it with a pinch of salt. Wouldn't really worry about it at all. So if you're looking for a health market to really measure your goals and your fitness and how you're going, then DEXA scans are the best, because what they're going to do is measure your fat mass, give you a body fat percentage. They're going to give you your lean muscle mass percentage. They're going to measure your water retention, see how much water retention you've got. And these numbers are so specific and it's not expensive. You Google it, go into your local scanning place. They'll do a little scan on you, talk to you about your health and fitness goals. And then you go back in 12 weeks and see those numbers decrease, increase, because the goal is to recomposition your body, to bring down the body fat percentage, to bring up the lean muscle mass, to really change the composition of your body. And DEXA scans are going to measure that, which is really important. It's great because it steers you away from standing on the scales every day, which is never going to help us psychologically, mentally, emotionally. And you've got to remember you have forever to find your fitness. That's something I really learned in my pre and postnatal certification. You got to do what works for you. And, you know, if it is BMI, if it is going to a trainer and getting your BMR and, you know, working out exactly which calories you should be having and, you know, being very methodical about it. If that works for you, that works for you. But I find, you know, tracking my food and tracking every little thing that goes into my mouth a little bit even triggering. I find it just too much hard work. There's already such a mental load being a mom and running a company and doing all those things. If I had to track what I was eating as well, it's just one level that will probably tip me. So I find just going and having a DEXA scan every now and then to see that I am putting on lean muscle mass and that I am heading in the right direction really helps to measure my progress. Thanks so much for listening to Bounce Forward. I love having your company. So please DM me on Instagram at tiffhall_xo and let me know what questions you'd love me to cover. Don't forget to rate and review me on your podcast app. Speak soon. Happy days.